Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So within today's video, we are going to be talking about the ideas and the agenda that Xavi Hernandez and Mateo Alemán do have for FC Barcelona in this coming January transfer window. So we are going to be revolving around Marcos Alonso, Dembele, and also Bernardo Silva. So this is going to be a very compact video. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we go into this video and talk about what we have to talk about, I do want to bring up our sponsor for today, and that is going to be the OneFootball app. If you guys want to be equipped with the latest World Cup news when it comes to the score lines, the lineups that is going to be assembled in about 7 to 8 days, you can find that within the OneFootball app. They're also going to be having pre-match interview videos and also post-match interview videos. There's going to be a lot of videos, articles, information, and it's the best all-around football app that you could find when it comes to finding football entertainment, finding informative videos and articles, and all around. And if you do support specific clubs, like let's say for example FC Barcelona, Manchester City, Manchester United, Real Madrid, or any other football club, you can find that type of information regarding your favorite team again within the OneFootball app. If you do want to download this app, you can so by clicking on the link down below. It'll take you straight to the App Store. You can download the OneFootball app, set exactly who and what you do want to follow, and then you'll be set and done from there. It's a very easy process. It is for free, so I hope you guys do enjoy it. But now let's go back into this video and let's talk about Marcos Alonso first, because it does say here, according to Ferran Martinez, that the signing of a center back in January isn't the #1 goal anymore, following Marcos Alonso's performances, and Xavi likes him in that position. Now, to be very honest, I'm not so surprised when it comes to news like this, because he has been performing at a very good level. He has been solid. There has been some mistakes also through the first half of this season, but overall he has been a very solid center back. His ball distribution and his aerial threat has been amazing so far, and I get it, right? For him to become the 5th choice center back option for Xavi Hernandez, that is an okay decision, because again, if we're talking about Marcos Alonso being a starter for FC Barcelona, then the conversation would be much different. But since we're only talking about Marcos Alonso being the 5th choice center back behind Ronald Araujo, Jules Koundé, Eric Garcia, Andreas Christensen, these are players that are going to be playing for the majority of the time. And then if players like Christensen or Koundé or Eric Garcia do get injured, then you introduce someone like Marcos Alonso. We just have to maintain a very healthy squad all around going into the second half of the season. Now, I know that this has not gotten the best response when it comes to Alonso and his contract being renewed, but again, we have to remember he will be considered as the 5th choice center back going into the second half of the season. So most likely we're not going to be seeing him as much as we used to when players like Ronald Araujo and Koundé do come back and they're fully fit. And so yes, Xavi Hernandez does want to renew this player. It does say here, according to Gabriel Sanz, that Barcelona's plan is to discuss a renewal during the World Cup break for Marcos Alonso at the moment, and not Hector Bellerin. So as time does go on, we're starting to get more clarity on what type of signing Hector Bellerin has been for Xavi Hernandez. He has been much more of a Adama Traoré type of signing. He's only there for the extreme emergencies, and we only signed him only because he was the only option available at that time when we were making signings in the summer. But once Barcelona go into these next 2 transfer windows where we are going to be having much more resources, much more time to make signings, Hector Bellerin is going to be replaced immediately. And the same conversation cannot go with someone like Marcos Alonso, because Marcos Alonso and FC Barcelona and everybody all around know his role, which is why we do not really need to think about letting go of this player or finding a replacement for the 5th choice center back. He has been very, very solid. And so now let's move on towards the next topic of today, and now let's talk about Dembele, because yes, you guys probably already heard on my Instagram page that Dembele could be renewing with Barcelona at the very least until, right, at the very least, which is the key word, 2026, at the very least. So we could hear Barcelona wanting to renew Dembele until maybe 2027, maybe 2028, but at the very least 2026, which is going to be another 3 years. And to hear something like this is very exciting, because we know that Dembele has been very important and fundamental to FC Barcelona. We love how Dembele does perform on the field. He's very exciting. He knows how to take on opponents. There is nobody like him, and I pray, right, I pray that once this World Cup does start, Dembele does not encounter any serious or even minimal injury, because that is how he got injured in the first place. His last injury came through him going into international break and getting injured with France. And I also pray that this player does succeed with France by scoring goals, providing assists. He is destined to meet teams like Mexico, England, Germany, and potentially Argentina in the World Cup final. And I hope that throughout these games, that it is going to be very difficult, by the way, he is a protagonist on the field alongside with Kylian Mbappe, because you know what that's going to do? You know what happens when when a player performs at the highest level of football, they gain the confidence. They think, okay, if I can perform like this at the highest level of football, which is the World Cup, I can do anything else. Because that is the same thing that did happen with Kylian Mbappe. When he knew that he could perform at the highest stage and outclass many national teams, that is when Kylian Mbappe was in the conversation of being one of the best players in the world. And I hope that Dembele can follow the exact same route. And so if Dembele can do that, he's going to be saying, okay, I could bring this level to FC Barcelona, and that's going to make a stronger case on why Barcelona want to renew this player. And it's of course going to be benefiting Barcelona because they're going to be much stronger than ever before in that attacking line. So with this renewal that could happen, and I hope until like 2027 or 2028, comes with a lot of leadership. I want Dembele to continue to get better as a leader, continue to get better as a character. He even, again, he speaks Spanish, right? He's becoming much more mature. So he is a much different player, and I hope that Barcelona do wrap up a deal like this very, very soon. And so now let's move on towards the last topic of today, and now let's talk about Bernardo Silva, because there has been questions. I know that many have been wondering, could Barcelona actually go for Bernardo Silva within these next 1 to 2 months? Because we have to remember, Bernardo Silva approved on this move. He wanted to come to Barcelona. The only thing that was stopping Barcelona from signing this player, it was Memphis Depay's failed move to Juventus, right? Memphis Depay was supposed to go to that Italian club, but since that did not happen, Barcelona had no more room in that wage bill, which is why they could not sign Bernardo Silva. And so who knows what Barcelona is going to be doing in January? Could they actually let go of someone like Memphis Depay this time and many other more in order to bring in someone like Bernardo Silva? And it does say here, according to Gabriel Sanz, that Bernardo Silva's agents and Manchester City have scheduled a meeting in this World Cup break to clarify the Portuguese's future for 2023. Pep Guardiola and City's sporting area do want him to stay, but will not stand in his way if he maintains his desire to leave for La Liga. Now here is where things do get very interesting, right? Because what if things have changed by this time? What if Bernardo Silva is much more comfortable staying at Manchester City than before? Because look, he is a starter under Pep now and full time. He has 2 goals and 5 assists as a midfielder. I understand that he does play as a right winger, but we do see him in a lot of areas where he is playing in the midfield. And so he does have 2 goals and 5 assists within 14 matches. And at the moment in the Premier League, he is in 6th place when it comes to goal creating actions per 90. So he has been very efficient under Pep Guardiola. And does Bernardo Silva want to break down a momentum like this? Another factor that could hinder his decision and maybe even reconsider on moving to Barcelona is him seeing that Barcelona is not in the Champions League and Manchester City is. And maybe with that happening, Bernardo Silva is going to be like, I'm just going to wait until the summer of 2023 when Barcelona is back into this competition, since they did finish in 4th place, and I'll stay at Manchester City for the rest of the year and try to compete for the Champions League. And I would not be surprised if this ends up happening, if we hear news like this, because look, the only player that I could see say yes to going into a different team, knowing that they're going to be performing at a lower level tournament, would be Lionel Messi, moving away from PSG and going to FC Barcelona to play in the Europa League. That is the only player I could see say yes to something like this. But besides that, I understand the player's decision. They always want to be in the best leagues possible and perform at a very high level. And so let's see, right? Let's see what Mateo Lemán and Xavi Hernandez do if Bernardo Silva does have doubts on moving to FC Barcelona. It's going to be a very, very interesting transfer window. So that is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona Daily News, and I will see you guys in the next video.